They called him many things, sorcerer, poet, madman, but none of their words could touch the truth. They feared his voice, not because it was loud, but because it was unshakably calm. They feared his message, not because it was violent, but because it was too clear, too powerful, too real. He was born an orphan in the deserts of Arabia. But from the silence of loss rose a voice that would echo across the ages. The world may think it knows Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, but the truth is this: the version you've been told is only a shadow. The untold truth is far more beautiful, more revolutionary, and more transformative than history has dared to admit. In a time when tribal pride was a god, when the poor were discarded and women buried alive, he came with a voice that trembled the arrogance of kings and comforted the broken hearts of slaves. He stood alone for years, mocked, spat on, beaten. But he didn't return anger with anger. He stood in front of his enemies and prayed for their guidance. Who does that? What kind of human rises above revenge like that? What kind of man, when pelted with stones until blood fills his sandals, turns to the sky and says, "O Allah, forgive my people, they don't know"? The truth about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is not in the books they banned or the lies they broadcast. It's in the legacy he left. It's in the tears of a mother who whispers his name while begging for her child's healing. It's in the call to prayer that rises 5 times a day from every corner of the globe. It's in the eyes of a former atheist who found peace in a verse he never expected to understand. He was a man, yes, but more than that. He was mercy walking among people who didn't know what mercy was. He was light shining through a world soaked in darkness. When you peel back the propaganda, the bias, the politics, you see a man who walked with orphans and fed the hungry before he was commanded to. A man who stood up against an entire society for the rights of women, the rights of slaves, the rights of the oppressed, before any political system existed to reward him for it. He didn't have armies at the beginning. He didn't have wealth or titles. All he had was truth. And truth was enough. Do you know what the Quraysh offered him to stop preaching? Power, wealth, women, kingship. He refused it all. He said, "Even if they put the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left, I will not give up this mission." Who says that unless they believe beyond belief in what they've been given? His life wasn't just a sequence of events. It was a divine map. His tears, his laughter, his battles, his solitude, his love, all of it was a message not just to his people, but to you. Yes, you, sitting right now wondering about purpose, wondering if you're enough, wondering if there's something more. He didn't come to be worshipped. He came to show you the one who deserves worship. The untold truth is, Muhammad, peace be upon him, was not sent just to the Arabs. He was a mercy to the worlds. That includes the ones who reject him. That includes the ones who don't know him yet. That includes the ones who mock him today on stages and screens. Do you know what he would say if he heard them? He would say, "O Allah, guide them." He didn't lie for himself. He cried for his nation in the middle of the night. His companions asked him why he cried so much. When his sins had already been forgiven, he said, "Should I not be a grateful servant?" He used to pray so long that his feet would swell, not because he had to, because he loved his Lord that much, because he loved you that much. When Mecca rejected him, he didn't curse them. When the hypocrites plotted against him in Medina, he didn't retaliate. When he finally returned to Mecca, victorious, with 10,000 believers by his side. What did he do? He forgave them, all of them. The same people who had mocked his wife, tortured his friends, driven him from his home. He said, "Go. You are free." Who leads like that? Who forgives like that? The truth about him is not just in what he did, but what he didn't do. He never raised a hand against a woman, never insulted a servant, never put himself above the poor. He mended his own clothes, helped in his own home, and sat among the people so humbly that strangers couldn't tell which man in the crowd was the prophet. Think about that. They try to paint him as a man of war, but they ignore that every battle he fought was in defense. Every treaty he honored, even when the enemy broke it. They call him intolerant, but they forget that Christians and Jews lived peacefully under his rule. They call him backwards, but he's the one who taught. Seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. He's the one who said, "The best of you are those who are best to their women." He's the one who said, "None of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself." The untold truth is this: Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the most misunderstood man in history, not because he was unclear, but because he was too clear for those who wanted to remain in darkness. He exposed injustice with words that shook the earth. He made the arrogant uncomfortable and the humble feel seen. He built a civilization out of people who had been broken, divided, and left behind. He cried for you. Yes, you. In his final moments, with pain overtaking his body, do you know what he said? My Ummah. My Ummah. He was thinking of you. He didn't build palaces. He didn't gather treasures. He built hearts. He gathered souls. They've tried to bury his truth for centuries, but it rises again, again, and again. Every time a tear falls over a verse of the Qur'an, every time a soul returns to prayer after being lost, every time someone whispers his name in the silence of night. He lives in the echo of every call to prayer, in the character of every believer who follows his path with sincerity, not blindly, not emotionally, but because the truth rings louder than lies. He was the orphan who changed the world, the unlettered man who taught scholars, the once persecuted figure who now has billions loving him more than they love their own families. And why? Because he was true. Because everything he said aligned with the fitrah, the pure human instinct. Because he gave people something that neither wealth nor fame could ever provide: meaning. Real meaning. So when they ask you who Muhammad was, don't point to a dusty book or an old documentary. Point to the tears you cried in sujood. Point to the courage you felt when you finally stood up for the truth. Point to the peace in your heart when you stopped chasing this world and turned back to your Creator. This is the untold truth. He wasn't just a man of the 7th century. He is the mercy for all times, the walking Qur'an, the final messenger, the mirror of divine compassion. And if the world truly knew him, not just through biased headlines, but through his character, his mercy, his love, they wouldn't just admire him, they would follow him. Because there's no other explanation for how a man with no wealth, no army, and no political power transformed the world in just 23 years and continues to transform hearts today. No explanation except this: he was sent by the one who created you. He was chosen. And he is the light that will never be extinguished. Apka content primarily storytelling are truth based hot hain. Use me. So that's why you should believe. Type endings unnecessary preachy lagti hain.